I don't see them in any immediate threat, but it does spark the question, and I'm pretty sure the Forestry Commission is working on it, but what are our plans for managing these town-owned tracts of land, conservation land, and the town forests? And whether or not we're working with a forester, which I believe we are, but as all of these different invasive tree-killing insects and diseases are falling upon us over the next few years, more so than ever, we're probably going to have to make sure we're really managing those woodlands.
Yeah, this is not really a new thing, of course. We've had the
It's
ash
not a new
borer.
thing, but we're up to, I believe, 4 different types of different things that are attacking our native trees, so.
Okay. And of course, it is in the budget. I believe there is some line items in the budget that would address cutting down trees.
Well, the tree cutting that you're probably talking about is the highway department budget,
yeah.
which would probably be different because this is forestry land. I don't know if you could overlap them or not.
Yeah, I guess the highway department is only trees that threaten to fall onto the highway.
Yep, and that's a different discussion, but it needs to be had soon because we definitely have some ash trees in certain areas of town that really need to come down sooner than later because they are beginning to pose more of a public threat than they have in the past, particularly in the Church Street areas.
How would you propose to proceed then to have money to do that?
Well, the road agent, I believe that's the line items you were speaking of. I think we got $35-ish thousand in a warrant article that hasn't been expended yet. But that would be the road agent's position, how to disperse that. Bring in a company or a couple of companies to start removing trees in the more progressed and decline areas of town.
So in last meeting, we did go through the highway budget, and what was the spend? Do you happen to know, I don't have that one in front of me.
I believe the warrant article had not been touched yet, and I believe he expended probably a couple of $1,000s out of the budget line for tree removal.
Right.
But there's still that big 35 from the warrant article that should get spent this year.
Right, I'm trying to remember last year, I think it was like 11,000 is my memory, and then we added 35 more.
They brought it up to 35 from wherever it was at deliberative.
Okay.
There's 33,150 remaining right now in the warrant article.
And is there still some on his regular budgetary line?
$2,500.
So there is some money to be spent there, but it'd be up to his discretion to figure out where to spend it best.
All right. What do we need to do then as a board to make that happen? Do we just mention it here in the meeting and have Pete go ahead and
For the
take it under
forest,
advisement to
for the
to do that?
forest or the roads?
Well, he's talking about forest land.
No, the forest, my initial thing, and you railed me, the forest part of it is not something we got to worry about right now. Particularly in that one case, the trees are in very, very early signs of decline. It's going to be years before they're going to become a real hazard. So big picture wise, I was hoping to meet with the Forestry Commission just to kind of see how they have their management in place, which I'm pretty sure they do. I think they do a great job, but I'm unfamiliar with it. Jeannie knows more about it than me. So I was hoping to attend one of their meetings just so I can see who they're using for a forester, and I'm sure they understand our concerns, but in cases like that, it's not just immediate target area, the areas that are abutting private residents, that might be incorporated into a bigger forestry management picture in a couple of years. But I just don't know where we are with that yet without talking to a forester and that committee.
All right, but, okay.
Maybe if they can put that in their budgets for maintaining the trees in the future.
Right, I
It'd be
think,
something they would need a good amount in their budget, but in addition to that, forestry management's kind of different. A lot of times it can get exchanged. It's not usually overly expensive, and I'm hoping that maybe some grants come across for this as it progresses. But I'm not familiar with it enough, but I did go look at those trees for that residence. And it's not a majorly pressing issue. They're not going to fall down tomorrow.
So this 33,000 that we haven't spent of the warrant article on trees, that was approved by the voters to spend on that, right? Tree removal for highways, keeping them, the ones cut back from the highways,
Right, those are right-of-way trees.
right-of-way trees that are in the 50 feet or whatever it is from the roadway, right? Are you suggesting that we get Pete to start using that money this year so that we don't lose it, or, have to
I
not
would,
use
I
it?
mean, it was voted in. I mean, they should be using that, especially because it's needed. I mean, they should use every penny of that because it was voted on.
Yeah, I don't see Pete here tonight yet, anyway. All right, well, let's make that a resolution from this meeting, that we are looking to get Pete to report to us how he's going to use that money for its intended use to keep trees off the highway.
Okay.
I'll recognize Jeannie.
Thank you. Jeannie Menard, Forestry Commission, along with Phil Bilodeau. Our original concern in coming to the Board of Selectmen, as you know, the Forestry Commission is under the Conservation Commission umbrella, but is the question of the liability. And, we had a homeowner who was concerned about this tree that's on town property falling on his property and doing damage. And I agree with Jared's assessment in terms of this mature beech tree maybe not being imminently a threat. But I'm concerned about just pushing it down the road in terms of the question that we have is, do we have any responsibility or liability if a tree on town lands falls on a home? And if that is the case, then I think this is a situation that we need to be a little bit more proactive and not wait for the tree to be in danger of falling necessarily. And we would welcome Jared to come to a meeting and we can explore that further at that point. But I don't want to forget about the liability question that we have. We may not have, I don't know, that's a legal question. It's beyond our purview to really understand and advise. And so, thank you for your time.
So even if we did decide that we wanted to take care of some of these trees that are forestry trees, right? They're not necessarily highway threatening trees, but they're just forest land trees that are adjacent to someone's property. Would we expect to see that tree cutting cost in the forestry budget, or would we expect to see it in the highway budget? I think the answer, is the forestry budget. But I believe the forestry budget is very minor and has no such cost in it, at least last year's.
So at that point, I mean, the forestry budget, the forest is still town land, so it would fall under the town's responsibility to figure out how to mitigate the liability. I don't know what budget that would come out of.
Well, the
it's a
umbrella
unique-
under the conservation, so it would be one of those two, I would think.
Right, either forestry itself or possibly in the conservation budget as well. Phil, you're part of the forestry commission, right?
Yeah, I am part of the Forestry Commission, Phil Bilodeau, Forestry Commission. But there are so many other town properties that aren't town forests. We're responsible for managing the town forests, there's five of them. If something on Lindsay Flanders falls over, we have no idea what's there. We've not done a management plan there. We don't go to walk it. We didn't walk it with the forester.
Right, so not all town land forests are town forests, right? Some of them are just woods and town property that are not part of the forestry plan, is what I'm hearing there. Again,
Well, I think there's this, I mean, the question came up, are we liable? So I would just like to know what the liability is for if a town forest tree falls into a neighboring property, who's actually, would the town be liable for that?
Yeah. think we are, because I know VZ Park had some that we had to have removed because it was on somebody's property.
Yeah.
That came out of the VZ Park budget though, right?
Yes.
So I have two kind of thoughts. One is, how do we get that started if we feel that we have liabilities that are open, and in what budget should it be? Because after all, we're going to be seeing a forestry budget, not in this meeting, but in the next or one after. Do we need to, and I guess the Forestry Commission folks, of course, have prepared that budget, so we can talk about whether we need to put anything in there. Did we
You
already
did
do
in the-
forestry?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was approved, it was $6.
$6, okay.
I will right now say, and we weren't here, but to our defense, Earl Rhodes came and said, yes, we are a group and we do work, and thank you very much. And he supported us. We got dates mixed up. I apologize.
Okay. Well, and these budgets aren't cast in stone yet, so, if there is,
You're gonna get many trees down for $6.
so to the other selectmen's points, should we add something to the budget for starting at least to look at the worst liability instances?
It probably should be. I mean,
Yeah.
a forestry commission that's managing that many acres of woodland, not having any money to cut trees or manage trees at all.
But in a forestry harvest, and I managed the one at Dallas Katie a good number of years ago, the forester works with the harvester, and they go sell the wood, and they pay their bills, and then the town gets whatever's left. But
So that's kind of exactly the reasoning why I said, basically I said, we're not going to take any action on those trees right now, but I wanted to look at to see what's in the bigger picture for a forestry plan.
Well, I
I'm
guess I
pretty
took my
sure-
notes- I took my notes because I knew I was coming. The Freetown Forest is 174 acres, and the forestry management plan was performed in August of 2012. Medium priority is 65 acres towards the front, which would abut this gentleman's property. It's an actively managed area, I don't know what that term is, but that's on a 15 to 20-year cycle. So and I don't know if a harvest had ever taken place before 2012. We're sitting here in 2025, I don't know. So that puts us into like the 2028, 29, 30 possibly.
I would probably reach out to whoever our forester is who worked on that proposal.
We don't have him under contract. We don't have a forester now.
So I would probably put something on a line item to have a forester under contract for that commission or that committee, if anything, because that person would probably say this whole, however many acres needs to be managed, where those few trees would obviously be included. But as these trees are continuing to decline and die, I feel like there's probably something coming up sooner than later in their forestry program to manage those beech trees. Or a suggestion or a recommendation from a forester.
We did walk it with the state forester, and he gave some general ideas of back here, you could take it
How long ago was this?
within the past year.
Okay. Was there any discussion about the beech leaf disease?
No, not at that time.
There's a lot of discussion, and I don't know if the board wants to get into the weeds about it, but yes, there's a lot of discussion about beech. And we were recommended that we review it in 5 years, that harvesting is not likely on that forest because it's very rocky terrain. There's a great variety of species. If you go in and pre-harvest all this dying beech right now, without the understory dying off first, beech attacks the understory. You have to wait for the understory to die. Otherwise, all the new generation will come back with diseased beech. So there's a whole cycle that isn't really falling in line with dealing with these two trees.
Okay.
Okay? I think that's a summary of the big picture of what we're looking at about the forest. But all good points are coming out, in terms of, how we can look at these forests in the future.
So it probably goes without saying that if a town-owned tree falls under private property, the town will be responsible for it. We must have insurance for just that reason. These trees that I looked at don't look like they're gonna be falling anytime soon. That's my personal assessment of them. It's up to you guys what you wanna do. Do you wanna seek quotes to take them down? Do you want to? I think they'll be fine for a few years. And I'd really like to see how the progression goes, because if that's the case, the way that property is situated, it might not just be those 8 or 10 trees that need to come down. We're gonna have to address that whole swath of road and road frontage as well. So maybe at that time it gets incorporated into a highway department budget.
Well, you're certainly a tree expert, Jared, so I would defer to your recommendations if you think we don't need to take action right at this moment. It sounds like that's what you're saying.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
And it sounds like they are on top of and aware of the situation, and hopefully, when the time comes, they'll have a plan.
And then we took testimony from the Forestry Commission only because we were on a forestry topic. We normally wouldn't have the audience participate, but they are the Forestry Commission, so we did take that testimony. And based on that, does the Forestry Commission want to revise their budget and put in something, as Jared was saying, a forester to do a plan, or have more say?
Yes.
Okay. We can certainly go back and revise a budget. So why don't you bring, perhaps next meeting, if you'd bring a revision and some suggestions based on the discussion?
That may be not quite possible to track down a forester who wants to give us a price for a project in a matter of a week.
Oh, well, however long it takes, as long as it gets into the budget.
We have until March.
And you could probably make some calls and, tell them how many acres it is, and they can give a rough estimate, just to put something down for right now, because it's usually by the acre anyway.
Right, and if you miss the deadline for the board approving the budget, it goes on to the MBC, of course, and they can make that change if you bring it to it. All right, if there's nothing else on that from the board, all right, let's move on then in our budgets. And I'm going to try to stay over here this time and work off the screen from here. We'll see how that works. So our first budget up is the government buildings budget. It's in the pack that's attached to the agenda, and there is a detailed sheets behind each of your budget sheets. Ray Ellis will be walking us through that agenda, and Karen's going to put it up on the screen for the public to see and for us audience to see here too as well.
Good evening.
Evening, Ray. And Ray, just before you start, I have a question that the audience may have as well, which is, what is the difference between government buildings versus the George B. White, which is a separate budget, and the library, which is a separate budget? What's entailed in government buildings?
So government buildings are town-owned buildings that do not have a budget. So, for instance, Parks and Recs, Bicentennial Field, Hartford Brook, the transfer station is part of that. Sometimes the fire department, if it's not in their budget, it becomes government building budget. And that's basically what the government building is for. So the GBW has its own budget, so therefore it's not part of it. The town hall has its own budget, therefore that's not part of it. And then government buildings covers whatever is left that doesn't have a budget appropriated to them.
Okay, thanks for that explanation.
Yep.
So you
Starting with government buildings?
Yeah, if you just kind of walk us through, the bigger ticket items that we can see, and let's pay attention to what we spend in '24 versus budget and what we spent year to date in '25.
Correct. Well, The first one's a part-time employee, which is myself. And originally, I was hired for 29 hours a week, went up to 32 hours a week. So that changed my hour rate, and then the 3% raise, which brought that up. So we're at 50,735.36.
All right, keep going.
So the next line is government building mileage/gas, because it was just mileage, and we had to change that to gas because I have a town truck now. So town-wide, I put in, because we haven't had a budget, it was only at $1. I put 750 for the year, because basically I'm responsible for town-wide mowing and the cemeteries and transfer station supplies when needed. So I do a lot of running around town with that pickup.
And in 2024, we spent 772,
Correct.
so 750 seems like a reasonable number.
That's based on what I came up with, tried to have an even number. The next one is legal notices. I've been here 8 years now. It's been $300. It's always been $300. To the best of my knowledge, we've never spent any of that. So it's still at $300.
So why do we have it?
I'm probably spending it out of the town administration budget, just not accounting for it here. Because I have a legal notices line in my budget too.
So would you say this should be moved to the
So
town?
I can just take this out and put it in mine.
In yours.
The next one is the telephone, monthly stipend, because I use my own phone, $20 per month, $240.
Yep.
Next one's contract mowing. It's been $7,800 since I've been here. We did take the watering holes off in this because I was doing the watering holes as well. Everything else, the library, South Fire Station, Central Fire Station, the GBW building, gazebo, field, town hall, all of that gets mowed through this contract. So with the price of fuel, and I didn't dare to lower it, so it's still at 7,800.
Yeah, and you spend most of that each year.
Correct.
Okay.
And they were mowing today, so. Next one's the government building contracts. So we also, and I don't know why it's on this line, but it was added, John added it a couple years back. The cleaning company is also on this line. So we just went with a new cleaning company, which is Facility Pro. And the contract is $2,400 a month. So that comes out of this. Plus RB Lewis Fire Control for the GBW, the Highway Department, the Central Fire Station, South Fire Station, library, pump houses, fire extinguisher inspections every year. Comes to $17,200.
I noticed that you spent $33,000 on a $17,000 budget in '24, and on the same 17 default number, you spent 22 so far this year. So if I bulk it up by 3 more months, it's probably going to be in the 25, 26 range.
Right. But there are other lines that we pay RB Lewis out of as well. So I don't know if it's always being taken out of that same line after we turn them in. I sign them. And then depending on which one Pete thinks it should come out of, that's what it comes out of. So if it was like for the fire department, he might put it on the fire department line. As we go down, you'll see it comes up again in other buildings.
Okay, my point is, I guess, that we keep overrunning this budget every year.
We do.
And so shouldn't we put in a number that we feel is probably more what we're going to spend on this and not have an overrun this coming year?
It would probably be wise to do so. Or at least come up to what we're paying out anyway.
Right, so 33,000 in 2024, and let's say 25,000 or 26,000 in 2025 when all the dust clears. So I would think at least 25 might be a better number. Any other selectmen ideas?
Well, just the cleaning contract is 28,800.
Yeah, I'd say 30.
28,000?
Yeah, 2,400 times 12 is 28,800. That's for us and the library.
So that's the whole thing then.
Yeah.
Doesn't the library have it in their budget?
They will propose it in their budget, but if it's default budget, it will still get billed back here. So do you want to only account for GBW portion in this contract line?
Well, obviously, if we don't get the budget passed, we'll end up with the 17,000 if we, and then the library, we don't want to have double dipping, right? That's
So
what,
then it would come, so 20,400 is what you should appropriate in this line item for this building. And then Ann Myers will
Yeah,
account
but
for.
this is the contract, this is the GB, the government buildings budget, not the George B. White or the library.
Correct.
Right.
right, if we look in the next,
Library will come out of this if we get a default budget again, because they're been attempting to separate their budget and needs into their own department. But bottom line is, if we get a default budget, we still have to pay all of it. And this doesn't include the George B. White. This is the government buildings contract.
well, George B. White, though, I don't see has any cleaning contract or any contracts in it. I was expecting to see contracts
I
or
would
clean.
think that that would be in the George B. White.
Yeah, I'm looking at the George B. White budget.
Because there isn't any government buildings that we use the cleaner for. They don't clean the firehouse, they don't clean the transfer station or the highway.
Right, they only cleaned the George B. White and the library and
So
town hall.
perhaps our portion of the cleaning should be put into the GBW budget as opposed to government building.
I don't know why this was put on here, because we never had it before.
My recollection is it was in the George B. White budget.
Right.
Okay, well, we can put the number in the George B. White budget and take it out of here, and I think we should set it to our historical spend minimum, which is about 25, there's 24,000 just for that cleaning, and then any other contract work that we get done. So we had 33,000 in '24, and it looks like 26,000 is my guess for '25, so I would suggest 26,000.
The 2025 proposal was 33,300.
Whatever we spent should be the bottom line number.
That looks like it would have been based off of 2024 actuals.
Right, 2024 was 33,473, so last year, we said, let's set it to that spend, and we didn't get it approved, so we stayed at the 17 number for the default budget.
We should put the number that it will actually cost us.
Yeah.
in-
This
in the
year,
budget.
it looks like we're going to
It
spend
should be in the
26.
George B. White, and the library would be separate if they get a budget.
Yeah, I agree. I'm suggesting 26,000, and we put it in George B. White. Any other thoughts on that?
No, sounds good.
So the cleaning part of it's getting moved.
Yep. You're still getting 26,000, it's just in
Yeah.
the other budget, reflecting where it's actually being spent.
So you're leaving the 6,300 here?
6,300 is the electricity, right? Contract is
17,200.
17,200, right?
So what are you leaving in that line item? Because you still have to pay the RB Lewis bills.
Yeah, I think we're just leaving that at a zero.
Which one?
Well, you can't leave it at zero because you still have to pay for RB Lewis. You still have to pay for
Right.
the fire alarms, the fire extinguishers,
It's set at 17,200. And if it gets default, that's what it'll be.
Right.
Right.
So the 26,000 that we want to use for the cleaning of the buildings, based on the monthly fee, we're moving to George B. White, and then we have to retain, I guess, some other money here for the rest of what we do under the contract budget for general government buildings. So what are the other things, Ray, that we do for general buildings that are not the cleaning service?
So anything to do with RB Lewis as far as the alarm systems, as far as like the fire extinguisher inspections. They also do the routine inspections once a year through all the buildings, not just the government buildings. And then what brings that up or down is if they find anything wrong that has to be repaired. So like lights, exit lights, things like that. Fire extinguisher replacement because either it's failed and they have to take it out of service. And that also talks with the cruisers, the fire department trucks, the highway department trucks, all the ones at the transfer station, all those fire extinguishers. So I know last year at the transfer station, we replaced at least 7 down back that weren't working because they stay outside all year long, down below.
Can we get a consensus on how much you actually spend?
I got it.
She has it.
So the cleaning contract is 28,800. 8,400 of that is the library's portion. So the GBW portion is 20,400. If the actual spend for the contract line is 33,300, minus out the 8,400 and the 20,400 for the cleaning, it leaves a balance of $4,500. So that's what should be remaining in the contract line. And then 20,400 should be moved to the GBW line. So it would be a new government buildings bottom line of 106,168.
So,
Well-
Ray, on your budget, it also says GB contract mowing. So is the mowing also included in that
GB
4,500
contract mowing on this paper? I don't
Separate
see it.
line.
on government buildings? Doesn't it say on line 398?
Oh, that's the one up above it. That's line 398.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
This one.
You're right. So,
We
look,
already went over that,
right.
7,800.
I'm sorry. All right, so Karen, you're saying we leave 4,500 here?
Yes.
4,500. And we're moving, we said 26, but I think you said that the cleaning is actually 28.
It will be 20,400.
Oh,
So
our
that's-
portion of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
28
it's
total.
1,700 a month for this building. Isn't that right, Ray? Because she said 700 for the library.
700 for the library and 1,700 here.
So
1,700 times
21 would be a
12.
better
So
number.
20,400.
20,400. Let's put in the exact number then, 20,400 for the cleaning line in the George B. White.
So do you just want to put that in the maintenance line?
Well, why don't we make it GB White contracts? So that it's not just muddled in with all the maintenance costs.
Contract is a better word because it's an obligation.
We're actually under a contract, right? And then we're leaving 4,500 in the contract line in the government buildings to cover all the things that Ray. Any questions on those moves? Karen's typing them into the live budget, so we'll see what the bottom line is. All right, Ray, let's keep going then through the electric and heating oil and propane.
So electricity, just the other day, I went up to sign the electric bills. Pete LeMay called me up, and I noticed that they've gone up quite a bit. And then he says, yeah, he says, I just called them, it's gone up 11%. So I had it at 63, but it probably should be at least 73 to 76 with that increase. I was counting on a 3% increase, but it's pulling that right out. It's 11%. So that's what we're paying now is 11% more.
Right, and in '24, we spent 71.28, and in so far in '25, we've spent 55.93, and with 3 months to go, I would say you're going to be up around 7,000 again, 7,500.
Yeah, I figured a number would be 73 would be safe, but
All right, so you want to change that to 73?
correct.
They had sent us a letter not long ago saying there was going to be an increase.
and that's what I was basing it on. Usually it's around a 3% increase, but it went up to 11, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions by the board on that? All right. Heating oil?
The next line is the heating oil line, but that was for South Station, and we no longer use heating oil at South Station. We switched over to propane, so that's going to be zeroed out. And then the next line down is the propane line, so that gets added on to the, South Station gets added on to the other ones. Year-to-date, we're overspent at 6,500.
What's the price per gallon we're paying?
We're paying 1,599 a gallon.
Okay.
So our default budget is 4,000, and the 2024, we spent 6,100, so we blew that budget out. And now,
Year-to-date wrong.
no, the year-to-date is 5588, but that's only for 9 months. So you can extrapolate up to maybe 7,000 again. So we're running around 7,000. So he's got 6,500 in. Might be a little short.
My balance year-to-date is, we're $1,574 over.
Right, so that's 1,500?
Yep.
So that would
That's
be
$8,000.
55, yeah, he's 5588 right now, year-to-date. And that's 3 months to go, so if it was 6,000, it'd be 1,500 per quarter. I'm doing the math right. 6,500 seems a little light, but it's certainly better than 4,000.
Correct.
But it should be 8,000. Because that's what it's costing us.
Looks like this year it's going to cost us about 7,500, I'd say. It's hard to extrapolate, but you want to make it 8?
I think we should.
Discussion about it?
We should pay, do it what it is. We can't.
Yeah. 8 will certainly cover it.
And if it's default, it goes back to the 4 anyway, so.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Go with 8.
They can cover it.
Okay. By consensus, we'll move that up to 8. All right, next one, Ray?
Repairs and maintenance line. Yearly maintenance on filter systems, maintenance on the government buildings, and library maintenance. So it's kind of an unknown line, because the maintenance line is, you have some things that you can do maintenance on, but when something breaks, that blows it out of the, out of the water. We have 2 buildings that use this line, which is the library, and then the rest of the government buildings. So it was at 19,550. Again, unknown, kind of hard to figure. So I left it at that.
Right, in 2024, it was 19,500, the default budget, and we spent 22,000, so we were slightly over. And then in 25 so far, on a 19,500 budget again, we've spent 10,500 so far.
Correct.
So it does look like we're on track to exceed that budget again. So now you put in 1950, you're maintaining the old.
19,550.
Yeah, you're maintaining the old budget number,
Correct.
the default number. Why wouldn't you put in
I don't know if
historical spend?
we're going to spend more than that or not, because I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
what
hard to
what's going to break.
Yeah, right. Well, we have been over in the past 2 years.
I know we have, like, the town hall has one furnace that's original, long as I've been here, and every year we keep it running barely.
So that's
To
an
be
example.
replaced, but-
Yeah, that would be an example of something that
Correct.
hard to predict.
If it goes during the winter, we got to fix it.
Ray, you said libraries included in on this one too?
Yep.
Don't they have their own maintenance line?
They have my maintenance line. They have a maintenance line that they put in, but that's goes back to the MOU on, if it passes, they'll have their own line. But if it doesn't pass, it comes back to me. It's kind of hard for me to figure because I don't know if it's going to pass this year, then they're going to have it from here on. It won't be my problem.
Right, we
If it
have
goes to default budget, it is still my problem.
an MOU, memorandum of understanding with the library that they will take over their maintenance in their budget. But until we get a budget passed, they won't have the money to do that. So the selectmen have agreed to maintain this so that they can maintain their building until we get a budget passed. Once we pass a budget, this line will come out, or excuse, the
So how-
library
How do I
component.
regulate that? If they're spending my money, how do I know?
So
Once
in,
it passes and it's their money,
in the library budget, we should see a maintenance line, of course, right? And that's the
but that
money.
only, that's only if it passes.
Yeah, if it passes. If it
We'll
doesn't,
have the extra money in this for them.
We have it here, right? So what I'm saying is, if I'm carrying it and they're carrying it, and if it goes to default budget, then I have to say, okay, now I got to account for some of that money for the library.
Right.
that's what we've agreed
It's
to.
hard for me to judge on what they're spending, is what I'm
That's right.
saying.
We've agreed to take care of their maintenance as we have in the past until a budget passes.
Correct. And, you know, Ann and I usually do pretty well with that. I mean, if something big comes up, she lets me know about it, you know, and we try to work it because we're both using that money.
I guess I'm confused. Aren't we're building a 2026 budget that's going to be presented to the voters to be passed. So it should be built like we're separating from the library,
Right.
right?
Should be.
And then if it doesn't, and we're in default again, then we just pretend like that never happened and go back to the way that it was.
Right.
So if part of this money is for the library, then it should just be reduced out of the proposed budget,
Thank you.
right?
Right. However, we have blown the proposed budgets each year, right? We have 19.5 as default. and we
Right, because we've
exceed it.
been spending the money carrying the library in that line item. And that expense is going to be moved to a different,
The decision was based on, okay, if we get a budget, we'll have a little extra money this year, but we'll change it next year so that we don't have to carry you anymore. We're doing it as a fail-safe right now. If we get a default budget, we still have to carry the library.
so then 19.5 is what you want to keep in your proposed budget?
Actually, I'd like to increase it to about 25, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Certainly, if the budget passes, we should have a number here, which is the 2026 proposed budget, which should be without the library. So I think the 19.5 would be adequate if we didn't have the library. The reason we're going over budget, I would believe,
Because of the library.
because of the library. So I'm kind of okay with leaving the 19.5, which is the default number.
Okay?
Any other thoughts by the board members?
Yeah, I'd like it to stay the same.
Stay the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next line was service calls, heating, plumbing calls during the winter. It's at $1. I'd like to put at least 300 because I get called in the middle of the night to come out to plumbing problems and heating problems. And really it's a service call, but
Okay.
we don't have anything in that service call line. So I just wanted to put 300 in there and see what happens.
Well, that's part of your job, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rubbish collection?
Rubbish collection's gone down. So we had Waste Management, and we went to Pennard, and then Casella bought Pennard. So we have an 8-yard dumpster. It's $370 per month, so $4,440.
All right, so previously in the default, we have 7,000, and we've been spending about 3,000 to 4,000, so 4,400 seems like a good number. That's one reduction at least.
Yep. Government supplies, bathroom supplies, cleaning materials, softeners, salts, increases. I put it at 4,300, and that's what it was before. We've been getting by on that line. I don't think I've overspent it this year.
Yeah, we're spending around 2,000.
Correct.
Will that go down with the new water work that was done?
Well, for supplies,
Yeah, for your salt and all that, will that go down? Will that supply stuff go down because of,
well, we still have
Improvement.
our salt unit in here for, that we're buying salt and putting it in. So if you get rid of that, if the water tests good and we get rid of that machine, we could drop that quite a bit.
If,
I mean, they're still testing right now. I know that the state has been sending me emails about the water testing and wanted to know where we were at. I had to send them pictures of all the piping in the building because they wanted updates, and they wanted to know if we definitely were going to use the injection system. And I said, no, we've gone to plastic PVC pipes. And so they're waiting for the results from the tests. I test the water here once every 2 weeks, but it doesn't do the lead copper. It only takes, it does the phosphate. So we're waiting on that. That has to be done by January, I think, Karen?
Yeah, we have to wait till the start of the next quarter before we can do it again.
Correct.
it would seem to me that having just put all the pipes in, we probably would need to wait for a full year of testing to see if we can get off the salt.
Right.
Well, is the salt a softener?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah, I
not
think
gonna
it-
change. We're still gonna have hard water. What's the dosing thing we have?
The soda ash.
The soda
But the
ash.
state was still mandating that we keep that in place, at least for now.
Okay.
I think we'll have a clearer picture at the end of next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, regardless, we've been under the last 2 years, so can we trim this a bit?
Yeah, you could reasonably say that based on historical spend between 3,000 and 4,000, we did spend 4,000 in this category. Oh, excuse me. We did spend between 2 and 2,200. We're down around 20, let's say 2,200 historically.
You want to
Because
switch
this
it
is
to
a year-to-date.
3,000?
So we could trim,
25 to 3, somewhere around
Yeah.
in that range?
it could come down to, let's say, 3 might be a number I would support.
Okay.
Any other input by the board?
That seems
3
good.
sound reasonable? It's still almost 50% higher than what we spend so far. I think. All right, let's make that 43 into a 3. Oh, excuse me, 4,400.
No,
Oh,
43.
excuse me, 43, yep,
down to 3.
43,
Down to 3.
down to 3,000. And then the only one left is that equipment and tools line.
Equipment and tools is $250. Basically, anytime I can save money, if I can do the work myself. We don't have a lot of tools here, so sometimes I might have to buy a tool to get something done. That's always been $250, so I think this year, I haven't spent $250, but I spent up there a ways. I think I'm up close to $200.
Any comment by the board on that? No. The last line is that safety compliance, which I think is signs, safety placards and signs that we,
Yeah, it's a joint loss management safety supplies. We put it in last year, of course, it didn't pass, so it went back to $1. So I put the 500 back in.
and last year, did we also have 500 in? Is
Yep.
this- Yeah. So it's the same as last year's. proposed.
Correct.
All right, so Karen, what's the new bottom line, I think?
107,368.
All right, we were at 119,168, now we're at 107,368?
Yes.
368. Any questions by the board on the overall budget for the government buildings? All right. Do we have then a motion to put this in the, at least tentatively, in the approved pile?
So moved.
second?
All right, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor of putting this in the approved pile signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And once we get to the end and roll up the entire budget, we will reserve the right to come back and look at any particular section and perhaps carve out warrant articles or other capital items or things like that. All right, let's go on then to George B. White. Ray?
GBW. So the very first line, again, is legal notices, $300. Again, I have never used this line, so I guess we're going to transfer it over into
to the town administrator,
town administrators.
like we did.
Sure.
So then that 300 can come out. GBW telephone, monthly telecommunication fee for state information split with the fire department. It's always been there at $372. Year-to-date, we spent like $200,
Yeah, it seems like we spend most of that.
so.
Here we again are at water testing.
The water testing, still a bit of an unknown as far as what the total will be. Water testing, GBW filter system, $250 increase was due when they changed to the PFAS testing for plastic. I know there's going to be some more testing coming along, and it keeps going up, so year-to-date, I spent over. So,
We're on default of $1,900. In '24, we spent $2,480, so we were over by about 500.
I put it at 22.
And then in this year so far, we've spent 2,300 on a 1,900 budget. So we've been exceeding this budget. I would suggest it should be a little bit higher
Okay.
based on historical spend. I would
We might not
suggest.
next year because of the piping.
No, we're gonna keep on testing
Yeah, I
them
think the
next year.
testing is going to likely be the,
And
Oh, I realize that,
then we'll
but-
be able to back off.
We have to go a certain number of tests
Right,
that
yeah.
are free and clear before they
I
start
doubt we'll-
making us.
Well, we have to have 2 positive tests to get the state compliance, but we'll need to continue testing regardless because we're a public water supply because of Parks and Rec.
So it should be 2,500.
yeah, 25, I think is a number I would support. Any further thoughts? All right, consensus, we'll go to 25 on that. Next, Ray, is the electricity.
Electricity, 31,000. I didn't increase it because I just found out that it went up 11%. So it's going to go up again.
But it looks like we don't spend that much. That default number of 31,000, from 2017, I think. We spent 26,000 in 2024 on GBW electric, and then we spent 17,000 so far this year, so you might guess it's going to be up around 20,000, 21,000, assuming it's fairly steady. So 31 does seem like a number that's too high. I would suggest bring it back to the 2024 number, which is about 26,000. Take about 5,000 off it.
26.
Any other thoughts? No. 26,000. Did you catch that, Karen? 26 on the electricity. Heating oil?
Okay, heating oil. So we're paying $2.589 a gallon. So I figured that we needed 28.5.
So the default at the moment is 20,000. We spent 13,400 in 2024, and we're at 18,500 already in 2025. So with 3 more months to go, and of course the heating season coming,
Right.
we're
And
gonna at least be up to 25,000, I would say.
part of that number was cheaper per gallon last year than it
Okay.
is this year.
So I think your 28.5 number sounds like a reasonable guess as to where we'll be for 2026.
It won't be less.
Correct.
Any other thoughts? No. Okay. That's a good number then.
GBW repairs and maintenance. This line has been 37,100. I've brought it down before. It could go down to like 20,000. The 37,100 was when, in 2017, they put all the carpets throughout the whole building, and they bumped it up knowing that they were gonna spend all the money on the carpets in this building. And since then, the budget hasn't passed, so it always goes back to the 37,100.
Yeah, in fact, the default number has been 72,000, which is that 2017 number that you're referring to, Ray.
Yep.
And we've spent 56,000 in '24, so we did spend a pretty hefty chunk of it. And then so far this year, we've spent 13.2. So, you might guess we could be as high as 20.
We're at about 35 right now, year-to-date.
Oh,
This
year-to-date?
doesn't- Yeah, this doesn't reflect the last month's spend.
Is that because of the piping project?
It was the second half of the PEX piping bill.
Okay. All right, so this number, this year-to-date is not reflecting all of the PEX piping projects. So what was the number, 35?
Yeah, I think it's just under 35.
Just under 35, okay. Well, we spent 56 and 35, so 37.1 is probably not a bad number. Any adjustments? No. Okay. And then diesel,
Diesel for the generator. That's the generator out here that we use, the emergency generator, for backup power. So it's always been 1,500. We've never exceeded that. This year, they did shut down for a whole day when they put the new power lines in down here, so we ran off the diesel generator. I think we spent like, I think it was 300 and something to refill the tank. So,
well, this year, we're only showing year-to-date 73. Is that needing an update too?
I don't think this is on that yet. We just topped this off.
All right, just,
And it's also there for emergency purposes.
Right.
So if we're a shelter and we open up, we can go through that $1,500 in a day and a half.
right. And we've had mild winters in recent years, and we
Right
could,
now, it starts up
could
once a
easily have
week and
a-
runs for an hour, shuts off.
I'm happy with 1,500.
1,500. Diesel's around $4 a gallon. It goes rather quickly. If we had to run a shelter for 24 hours, we'd surpass $1,500.
Any other thoughts on board? Cindy? Okay, let's leave it at 1,500 then. And miscellaneous,
So on the miscellaneous, I put down carpet cleaning once a year. We just had all the carpets cleaned in the building.
they look good.
And they did the
They're-
whole
they're
thing.
way
They did
better
all
than
the
they were.
bathrooms, they did all the carpets upstairs, downstairs, and all the offices, police department, et cetera. And it was $2,000 for that, and then with the police department, it was like 24.
So this zero year-to-date should be 2,400 probably, right?
We just paid the bill today.
Just paid it today, okay. So we spent 2,400 year-to-date.
Can I just make that $1 and then put the $2,500 in the contract line with the rest of the cleaning? Is that fine?
I think that makes sense.
The carpet cleaning wasn't in the contract?
No, it's an add-on.
They said they were gonna do,
No, if they do carpets and windows, those are extras.
okay.
So traditionally, we've only spent $200, $300, and now 2,400 because of the special carpet cleaning. But presumably, would we start a program now of carpet cleaning once a year? Is that the idea?
That would be my preference, yes.
Once a year?
Sense. And putting in the George B. White contract line makes more sense too.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry,
that'll
I'm just
become-
making these red so
This
that
will
Randy can follow
become
me.
$1, right? This
Yep.
line. And you'll add the 2,500 to the contract line.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, and the rest of them are de minimis,
$1.
$1 for capital improvements, grants, and other charges and expenses.
Correct.
So Karen, we now have a new bottom line budget for the George B. White of,
118,876.
okay, so we've added, we had a budget of 103, so we've added about 15,000.
Well, it just moved from government buildings to here.
Right, so we didn't actually raise the total budget,
Correct.
we just moved it around. Any further discussion about George B. White budget?
So moved.
All right, Cindy moves 118,876, and we have a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then Town Hall.
This goes to the town hall. So the first line, town hall telephone, that's reduced by $530 because we had that line removed. We don't have a telephone line at the town hall now,
So it would be a zero?
0.
Okay.
The next one is the contract line, fire alarm, yearly cost, sprinkler system out in the field. We changed the contract, we have RB Lewis now. Before it was a lot more money. We're down, it was down to, I put 3,000 again. They come out once a year and have to do the sprinkler system all over. We've had problems with the sprinkler systems, as you know, in the last year or two.
So I know the work's being done on sprinklers and other safety systems, but we aren't showing the spend in this category. We must be spending it out of a different category.
That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. It comes out a different line.
So we have zero spend against 3,000 both years. So putting it in again and spending nothing probably is not the right thing to do. We probably should move it to the line where it belongs.
It goes back to the 2017 budget, which was 3,000.
Yeah. So we can correct that to zero, but then where do these actual fire alarm tests and sprinkler tests, where are they being charged currently? Do we know? They're not being charged to this.
Not charged out of the town hall, no.
At a GB contract, probably.
Is it in government buildings?
Yeah, RB Lewis
Yep.
in government building.
Okay.
But it should be out of the town hall. Whatever we spend on the town hall should be in the town hall budget.
Right, to try to keep track of what town hall is.
Well, then that's how he needs to submit it when he gives them to Pete.
So how much have we historically spent in the government buildings on the RB Lewis and those functions? We should move that out of that budget into this budget, I would say, right? That's what you're
I
saying,
would
Steve,
agree.
right? Yeah.
So what are you looking for, an adjusting entry from the government buildings budget to the town hall?
Right, so government buildings is covering town halls, fire extinguishers and sprinklers and alarms and things like that.
It
And
should be in the town hall budget since we have a separate budget for it.
should be in this town hall contract line number 399. So can we get some kind of a guesstimate as to what that proper amount would be?
So I know when they come out, that's about $3,300 each time he comes out, just to do the sprinkler test. That's not
Don't they
counting if
do
it needs
twice a
anything.
year?
Once a year.
Once a year? So why don't we do some research and find out exactly what the number is?
Well, in line 339 of the government buildings, there is the RB Lewis Fire Control, George B. White Highway Department, so it's all kind of lumped together, yeah. So I think we need to do some research,
Break it out
as Steve
as to
says.
what the portion of it is that affects the town hall.
And then we'll move that portion to this line on Town Hall, and we'll reduce that same amount in the in the government building contract line.
Government building contract line, yes.
Is that clear?
Sounds good?
So we account for the right thing in the right place.
So then there's electricity for the town hall pump house sprinkler system. I kept it at 8,000, but again, it's probably gonna go up because of the 11% raise, increase.
Yeah,
Is
we,
it the regular electricity for the town hall, but also because it runs
This,
the
this
pump?
is for the sprinkler house because it's separate than the town hall.
Okay,
The sprinkler house has three-phase power.
okay. So is there a
And there's-
separate number for the town hall's electricity?
No, it just comes on the same bill.
Okay.
so how do we account for just the Town Hall portion then?
It's all the town hall portion because the sprinkler
Oh,
house
that's
is for the town hall.
That's right. So historically, we've had 8,000 in the default budget, and we've spent in '24, 5,600, and we've spent 4,600 so far, but you might guess that it'll be at least 6,000 or so, maybe a little more than 6,000.
I think 8,000 is a good number. If you take 4637 and you divide it by 8, and then you multiply it by 12, and then add in 11% for the increase, you'll come out to 7,800.
Okay. Good math.
So I think you should leave it.
Agreed.
All right, any other thoughts? All right, we'll leave that then at 8. Heating oil for town hall,
Again, it's at 2.589 a gallon at 3,500 gallons. It comes out to like 9,061.50. I rounded it off to 10,000.
so that's a pretty hefty increase over previous year's spend. We had 2,300 spent on town hall heating oil in '24, and 46.95 so far.
Didn't we shut it down for a couple of months?
Maybe so.
Yeah, shut it down.
I think you winterized it
You
in
also got to
24,
figure
right?
last year's prices were cheaper.
This year, it looks like we're going to be in the 7,000 range, if you do the math. Something maybe a little over 7,000. I don't know, 10,000, oh, this year, and then you're saying 11% increase for next year?
That's electricity.
Oh,
That's electricity.
right.
No, but if you take the gallons, 3,500 gallons times 2.589, he said it was $9,061.
Yeah.
So you
that's
just want to
if we-
round it to 9,100?
That's if we actually use that many gallons, right? But historically, it looks like we're not.
Historically, we spend about 3,500 gallons a year,
Okay.
town hall, if we heat it year-round. Now, if you decide to shut it down again, the numbers change.
Yeah, but I don't think the public consensus is to shut it down. We want to try to use it as best we can. So I don't
That's why
think that'll
I had to
happen.
figure on, is if we're going to run it all year.
Okay. So 10,000 is certainly adequate. It could even be 9,000 based on the
Could
math.
wind up being 12 if the price goes up.
Yeah. Any thoughts to change it from 10,
No,
Greg? You look like you're wanting to say something.
I'm just 95, yeah,
9,500?
yeah.
Any support for 9,500?
I don't think it'll be enough.
Consensus?
It depends on factors of pricing and the winter.
Pricing should stay the same because we're under contract, though, right?
Yes, but the contract ends next year. We have to get another contract.
Oh, right, the next winter.
I'll leave it at 10.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would
at
say
10 too.
that's best.
I think the consensus is 10. It might be a little heavy. We hope we don't spend it, but it's probably going to be close. All right, let's go on, Ray, with the sprinkler system maintenance.
So the town hall maintenance,
It's,
was 9,319. I know for a fact to paint one side of the building is $10,000. I haven't priced it this year, but that's what we average. So I kept it at 10,000.
And we've been spending most of that. And I believe that in the future, we're probably going to be wanting to spend more on town hall. So
Correct.
I even wonder if 10 is enough.
it's not. We haven't painted it in, how many years, Ray?
Been 3 years now. We used to paint
Doing
it
a
every
side a
year.
year, and we are 3 years out of it. And not painting it causes more costs because it deteriorates because we're not taking care of it. If you were to ask me, I'd put $25,000 in that line, get two sides painted, and the ceiling repairs that need to be done. Because they're not gonna get any cheaper, and they're not going away.
Other thoughts by Selectmen on Steve's thinking?
Sounds more like a warrant to me,
Warrant?
yeah.
And I would say against the warrant only because it is a fixture of our community. And for years, we spent the money and took care of it in some way every year. It's the symbol of our town, and it's gonna fall apart a lot quicker if we don't do things and make them we used to annually paint one side every year to keep up the siding, to keep up everything.
So you
We have,
suggest, sorry, I'm sorry. I thought
I'm
you were-
sorry, we have not taken care of that building in the proper way for at least 8 years. So that's my reason for saying, because our purpose here is to tell the town, this is what we need and this is what it costs. And there's also some activity going on with trying to evaluate the town hall and find ways to take care of it. I think as a clear voice, this board should say, we need to do this to keep the town hall going.
But if we put it in the budget and it inflates the budget to the point that if we don't get a budget, then we won't have the money. If we put it in a warrant and the citizens agree with what you're saying, which I think they would, they'll approve that, we'll at least have the money to fix up the town hall without having to approve the budget.
And my issue is that we should not worry about what will happen to the budget. We need to clearly say, this is what needs to be done, and this is what it costs, and let the citizens decide what they want to do. That is my understanding of the whole purpose we're sitting here right now, is to tell the community that this is what we need, and this is what it's going to cost.
Well, we'll also tell the community this is what we need by putting it in a warrant, and then they can decide if they agree with that we need it, right?
Yeah. I look more to the community will tell us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think throughout the budget, as I said, we're going to come back and look for warrants that we can carve out in order to keep the standard budget kind of, under control and let the citizens decide if they want to add more, which adds to their taxes, of course, add more and pick and choose. So I'm in favor of carving out, warrant articles and letting the public decide if they want to spend on those things. It's essentially saying, are we aligned with your priorities as voters and as citizens? So I would recommend myself $10,000 being in this base budget and then put some warrant article out for additional money, because I agree with Steve that we do need to take care of our town hall, but I want to make sure that we don't fail to get the money simply because it's lumped in on the coattails of the budget that may not pass. And based on recent years of not having a budget, I think there's a reasonable chance that this will not pass. We're going to do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen, but it could happen. Other thoughts? You agree with that, Jared?
I do. I leave it as it is for now. I'd like to inflate it, but I leave it there and we're gonna write up a good warrant article for it.
Can you take a note for a warrant article on town hall maintenance? Please? So
And the way that
as we
gets-
go, we've identified a couple of places, I think, where we're going to intend to have a warrant, so I want to make sure we don't lose those. Anything else on this subject? All right. Now, sprinkler system maintenance. I got fooled by the
Sprinkler system
210s.
maintenance. So we've been having problems with the jockey pump in the pump house. They actually replaced it. And then the electrical box that's in there, we've had a ghost in there, but I don't know if part of that was the electrical problems that we were having. And I know that Eversource has been in there and they redid all the three-phase power again and put some protective breakers on that to hopefully, so we don't overload it. But he said that those breakers in that box inside are very expensive. So if we pop one of them, it's gonna be expensive. So with the jockey pump and the possibility of maybe another breaker in there, I put 2,000 in the line.
So we've had only $1 in our default.
Correct.
And we haven't spent anything in the last 2 years. So you're suggesting that you think it's time that we're going to have some expenses here.
Well, the pump out, the jockey pump was failing and we were losing pressure. So for a while there, the sprinkler system wasn't armed because we were low on pressure. So we put a new jockey pump in there and he's done some work in the electrical box to get it working again. So right now it is working, but I'm afraid that something's gonna go again, so.
So if he's
I
done
was
that
trying
work,
to have a little bit of a,
if he's done that work, it's not reflected in the year-to-date budget number because we only show a 0 year-to-date.
Yeah.
Have we actually spent money this year on it?
we did.
We have a new jockey pump and some new,
And the breaker thing, I guess he's got it working, so.
Karen's looking
So
up, I think,
it's
to
running
spend.
again.
Karen's getting the new spend, I think, if she can find it.
It may have got put in one of the other lines too, so that's what we're gonna have to be careful about moving forward with RB Lewis.
All right, she's showing nothing in that line. So it must have gotten paid, was it RB Lewis that did the work?
Yep,
Okay, so it's probably in the government building line. in that 17, yeah. So this is another area where I guess the spend is not right. We can put this 2,000 in, but I guess we don't want to pay for it next year out of the, out of that government building. We should pay for it out of town hall
Right.
so that we are aware of the full spend.
And like I said, I put that in as a safety for me because I know that if I have to call them this winter, it's going to be all $2,000.
Yeah, I think it's noble that you are accounting for the fact that we could have some expenses here. But I think we also have had some along the way, and we need to account for how much that is, I guess. So I'm okay myself with leaving 2,000 in here. But it might, Karen might be able to ferret out that it should be lower on the GB White maintenance if we have 2,000 on town hall over here. It's just moving it from one budget to another. You'll investigate that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The only one left is the rubbish collection.
Yeah, and that's good news because that went down. So the one that's out behind the town hall is $320 per month. So $3,840, and it was $4,979.
So that's pretty predictable. All right. So I think we have a couple of questions here.
We got to hold on this one until such time as we can get all the numbers in the right place.
Right. So I would make that recommendation that we don't approve it, and we'll wait for Karen to look into a couple of these questions that we have. And are you clear on what those questions are?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Ray.
You're welcome, thank you.
Cemeteries is up next.
Good evening, Phil Bilodeau and
Jeff Mackey?
so we'll go through our budget. We have the first line is the superintendent. His salary is at 7,500. It's commensurate with other cemetery superintendents' salaries in towns of our size.
And so this is an area where we're woefully under in our default budget. We only have 1,600, and we spent 5,000 in '24, so we were way over, and we spent 3,750 so far, but that'll be 5,000 again, I believe, this year, or more even. Do you have that predicted number for the total salary for this year?
7,500,
Okay, you are paying 7,500.
yes,
So it went up 50% from the 2024 line.
yes.
Okay. So you're suggesting that we're going to spend 7,500, even though we've only spent 3,750 year to date?
Well, he'll get the other half, 3,750.
Okay. Is it spent in two payments, like a stipend or something?
I believe so. I'm not in charge of that fund.
Okay, okay. So you're saying 7,500 is the standard amount? Any question? All right, tree care?
We put $1 there. And we presently have, and if you're looking at the other, last year's budget of 5,000, is that what you say?
Yeah.
We presently hold a contract now, an open contract for about $5,000 from a local vendor to take some trees down. So that will be spent, hopefully it will be spent before the end of the year.
Right, so the year-to-date will be spent, so the 5,000 is a good number from last year, or excuse me, this current year.
Yes.
And then why going to $1 now? No more trees to cut?
Well, in the meantime, we've been using some trust funds.
So you're going to have $1 if we get this budget approved instead of
What that does is
5,000?
it leaves the line open for us in case we want to, if we need to transfer money to it. If it's zero, you're not generally allowed to move money towards it, I believe.
So you feel you have enough,
All in there, it just leaves it in there as a safe bet to keep the line account open, so.
so you feel you have enough trust funds to handle this in the next year,
That's what we're
2026?
hopeful, yeah.
Okay. Contractors?
No change.
So we have a default budget of 14,650, and in 2024, we spent 20,660, so we were 50% over budget. And in 2025 so far, we've spent 17,560, so it looks like we're going to be again, maybe 50% over budget this year. So why would there be no change? Wouldn't you want a budget for your historical spend here?
So currently, right now, I've done a little bit of research, thanks to Karen, she had a contract for us. We have one active contract, it was a 3-year contract, that's gonna be up next year. We have 12,100 through Blue Sky to do 5 cemeteries. I did a little research and I got some information very late, from Pete. We apparently been having Morrison Cemetery mowed with no contract by Avril. And he gave me the numbers, and I believe most of that hasn't been put in the budget in years prior. And we're gonna try to get that on a contract next year, not knowing what it's gonna be. We do, again, have some trust fund money and a cemetery fund that we're gonna try to balance. You know, we're not trying to ask for too much. That's basically until we get all of our ducks in a row.
So you think you can live on the 14,650, which is the default
I
number?
think for now, and if we have to, we can eat into a little bit of our trust funds. So depending on what cemeteries it needs to come out of.
Because we have, as you see, we have overrun this budget
Absolutely.
routinely. Okay. All right. If you think that's a good number you can stick to, be accountable for it.
So dues and subscriptions, we belong to the New Hampshire Old Graveyard Association, the New Hampshire Cemetery Association, and the New England Cemetery Association, which gives us access to a network of knowledge, resources, and gives us up-to-date information about best practices in cemetery maintenance and organizations. So that's $85.
All right. Next.
Supplies. We presently use a concentrated product which is called Wet It and Forget It, which is used to clean the stones in the cemeteries. One of the 128-ounce bottle of concentrated is $42. We figured we'd buy 2 of those and we can spread it over. And we have previously cleaned, this year we cleaned Freeze Fog, Osgood, not all the stones in Osgood, Philbrook Cemetery and Ladd Cemetery. Next year we'll focus on Parade Cemetery and Old Center. Some of the older stones which are towards the rear. Clean stones.
I think the work on the cemeteries has been very commendable by the Cemetery Commission, I have to say myself. But you only are asking again for basically the default number, even though you spent more than that in the previous 2 years. Is that because you also plan to use trust funds?
Yes.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
What that does is that covers us for 5 bottles of that concentrate, and that's it. We already have all the other tools and utensils that we need, so.
Okay.
Meetings and trainings, the New Hampshire Cemetery Association hosts 2 meetings a year, and we send 2 people to each of these meetings, which costs $35 each, so that's $140 for 2 meetings, for 2 people. That's 4 people, 4 attendants, $35.
All right, so with that, as far as I can tell, we haven't changed any of the lines in the cemetery budget. We've heard some good explanations as to why they're different than the previous budget. We have a total of $22,587, right? Any discussion overall on the cemetery budget?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the cemetery budget at $22,587, and all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next budget up is Police Department.
Evening.
Evening.
Everybody looks so thrilled to be here. This is great. So just go through it, Will? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I think if we can do the same as we've done with the others, just walk us through the budget items. We can look at the historical spend and see if we think it's adequate.
Right.
Are we fully staffed, chief?
Almost. We lost one guy, but I just made a conditional to a certified guy, so we're doing a background on him right now. Which probably won't take that long, so I anticipate having him on board.
You don't have to send him to the academy?
No,
all
he's
set?
certified, stay certified.
Excellent.
Okay, well, start at the top, salary line. That has increased. We added in the COLA that was voted in from last year. A couple of anticipated merit increases as well. That also, when you do that, it bumps up the median rate and the time and a half rate also. So it makes a difference on the overtime and the holiday pay. So you'll see a little bit of an increase in the overtime line as well. The part-time employee, we added that went up just a little bit because of the COLA that was voted in. Same thing for the clerical position. Other than that, you get down to retirement, which went up, which is not, I mean, that's set not by me, so I have no control over that.
Why don't we hold right there and ask the selectmen if they have any comments on full-time, part-time, overtime, clerical, and retirement? You see the numbers for the spends, you hear the explanation about the increases. Any questions on that portion?
We're not paying them enough.
And as you go on, nothing changes until you get to our contract line. Everything between those has stayed the same. The contract line I bumped up because that's what we're spending right now on that contract line.
All right, so the contract line, we have 32,000 in the budget, which is the default budget, which is woefully, oh no, excuse me. It's woefully inadequate in 2024, but
It is, I mean, so we're at 39,356. That's exactly what's coming out of that contract line.
this year?
Yes.
Okay, and it won't be increased next year?
I hope not. I don't believe anything in here will be going up. I haven't heard anything. Usually if there's any changes in any software stuff, Steve usually tells me, but I haven't heard anything from him yet, so I think we're good on that. No change, no change, no change, no change, no change, till you get to the gasoline line, which I believe is still set at $2.25 a gallon, if I remember correctly. So obviously I bumped that up because we're over every year to reflect current prices or close to. So you'll see an increase in that line as well. And again, we're overspent on that line for the last several years. Then the next several lines all stay the same, no changes. Again, up until you get to the cruiser line, which I bumped up because that's what it costs us to buy a car, upfit it, and put graphics on it in this day and age.
So here's another opportunity for a capital item that could be put out on warrant to have the voters approve the cruiser at 63.
Absolutely not.
Why would we
It
do
is a
that
day-
now, Will?
It is a day-to-day thing. It is something we've been dealing with, or at least I've been dealing with for 20 years. And we finally got to the point where we made it automatic that every year we bought another cruiser and we replaced another one. It's not necessarily the mileage, it's the amount of hours. And it is a crucial part of their job to have reliable and dependent vehicles to do their job. It was a question for years, and it turned into, bottom line, every year we replace a cruiser because of the wear and tear on a police cruiser is not necessarily the mileage, it's the amount of hours that it runs. And I'm being a little feisty on this because we fought this battle a couple of times 10, 15 years ago. It is a given. We replace a cruiser a year because it's a valuable tool for the police department that they need to have. They need to be able to get in that cruiser, start it up, and go do what they gotta do.
Yeah, and I'll just, be the antithesis just for the sake of the discussion. We have a default of 36,000, and we've had that every year now in many years. But this year, we've spent 70,475, which I presume is to buy, we bought a cruiser and we outfitted it.
Yes.
And so we have gone over on the budget by about double, right, from 36 to 70s. And so that money had to come, that 36 had to come from somewhere else? And why would you think that the public would not be in favor of having the cruiser?
How do they
I
know,
look ba-
how
I
do they
look
know
back at-
whether or not we need a car, Will?
Well, we'd have to tell them.
I
Well,
look, I
who's gonna
look
tell
back,
them, and how are you gonna tell them?
I look back on a budget committee meeting where the chairman of the budget committee was arguing about costs for the fire department and the value of spending money on this, that, or the other thing. 3 days later, he had a chimney fire. And the response of the fire department made him turn his whole idea around. It's not a matter of, well, what, budgetary. These are the vehicles that need to be where they're needed, when they're needed. And no expense should be spared to making sure that we have running police cruisers. It just works that way.
So we should just dictate this, and if the voters don't agree, we just override it.
Well, just for your information, so when I rotate a cruiser out, by the time we get rid of a car, it's 4 years old. It's got well over 100,000 miles on it, and it's junk. It's not worth anything. I surplus it and I sell them and I get what we can for it. It's not like we're getting rid of a year-old car. They're 4 years old. And I'm here to tell you, after 4 years of running pretty much straight, and there have been times, even with decent cars, I got one of my guys sitting right here, he'll tell you, where we have been down to one vehicle. You just never know. We've had issues with them before. That is the one piece of equipment that we need. And you take that away now, and this warrant article thing, look, I get it, okay, the whole budget thing. But look at the highway garage. Yeah, let's put everything on a warrant article. Now you're welding the frame on a 31-year-old plow truck that's probably not gonna make it through the winter. So, well, let's take a place that's running okay, and let's see if we can't drag that down in the same way. I mean, that just makes no sense to me. We are an equipment-driven business, period. Equipment and people, that's all we have. And we lose 1 year of that, and you just stop putting us behind. We're gonna be in the same situation as everybody else is because of wanting to do things with a warrant article, letting the people decide. I mean, you want to let the people decide everything. You can't govern by warrant articles all the time. This is a necessary thing for us. We have a system. There was a time before I got here, but Steve will probably remember, where they did the same thing and they ended up replacing motors in cars. I mean, come on. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
We went through a process of trying to rebuild these cars. And it used to cost us, it was costing, 15 years ago, it was costing $10,000 and the car was not worth it. The car is a necessary thing for the police department to operate. And there might be citizens who say, yeah, I don't want to spend money on it. We don't need another cruiser. Until the day they need that cruiser to come to them.
All good points, Steve. You and I have obviously disagree on this, and so I think I would like to hear the other selectmen temper what you've heard as two kind of opposing views.
So, I mean, I understand that vehicles are consumable. They have a lifespan. These vehicles that we've been buying don't last 20 years like a 1998 Crown Vic does. I mean, within 4 years of idling all day long and being on the road, they're done. And I actually agree with the chief. Why are we going to put the police department in the same position that our highway department is, having to run and beg for vehicles that function? There's a lot of areas I might not mind cutting a little bit, but, police cruisers, fire apparatus, that's stuff that we need, and it needs to be on point. He's got it figured out.
Other selectmen?
So you've been historically swapping out a car each year?
Yes.
Yeah, how long has that been going on for? Like, I don't know the history of how long this is.
Well, so I've been here just a little over 11 years, so we've done it every year at least.
For 11
since
years.
I've been here, so I don't
14
know
14
about before
years.
that.
Yep.
But I you know, obviously heard the history of how things went, and, you know, they take a beating, they just do. And like I say, even with decent vehicles, we've been down to one cruiser because of repairs. You just don't know.
Well, I think you recognize that I have never said that we don't need another cruiser. I've just suggested that what's the right way to get it approved in the budget so that we get an approved budget.
Leave it
and
in the
we
budget.
have
Leave
in
it in the
warrant article.
budget.
You leave it in the budget.
We've done that this
a
last bunch of years.
it's a
Wait a second.
consumable
We
item.
have done that the last several years, and we have not gotten a budget, have we?
Well, do
And
you
so we
think
never
taking
got
this
the money.
cruiser out of the budget is gonna make this whole town budget pass? You take out this
We
30,
put it in a warrant article and it fails.
Yep.
then we can't
Then we
spend any
can't buy
money on
another
it.
cruiser.
You put it in the budget and it fails.
We still have to find a way to keep.
You steal it
applying.
from
We still
another
have-
place.
We're not stealing.
Well, you're taking
we're
it from another
operating.
place.
Passing a budget that doesn't give us the money we need to function isn't worth anything. You can peel as much money off of the budget and get it passed, but if it doesn't give us the money we need to operate our PD, operate our highway shed, we just end up with a approved budget and broke, with no money to pay for anything.
I think we all know that if we really could get a budget that was what we needed in this town, it would be considerably higher than the budget that we bring to the people that fails each year. The reason for that is that the taxpayers are at their limit of paying taxes, and the only control they seem to have is to defeat the town budget every time, trying to keep their taxes under control.
But the bottom line is, we're not making the statements that we need to make. We need to make, number one, that a cruiser a year is a necessary item.
We could sell
We
it.
need to tell the people, and I'm sorry, but we need to tell the people, you want to live in Deerfield? It costs money. And turning down the town budget every year does one thing. It is destroying the infrastructure of this town. Our buildings are falling apart. We can't keep, we need to update the transfer station. We need to update the way we deal with town hall. We need to update a million things. It's all falling apart. And I'm sorry, folks. It costs big money to live here. My taxes in 40 years have gone up 200%. But it's a choice that I make. I understand, and I make it also by sitting here and understanding where this money is going. I'm sorry, it's not going to get any cheaper to live in Deerfield, but we still have to make the statement. You want a police department? We need to buy a cruiser every year. That's my thought.
Cindy, you're the only one who hasn't responded yet.
No, I would like to keep this in the budget. I mean, at one point, we didn't have it in the budget, and everybody says no to everything. And they'll just go down and say no to a cruiser like they do the highway trucks or, so that needs to stay in there. And I think we're talking about this, but, I mean, there's four of us, I think, that agree to leave it here, so let's
Yep.
leave it here and move on.
Yeah, the consensus is obvious that you want to leave this in the budget.
I think this
and
is
you
just,
don't
this is
want to
just
put it in the warrant.
prioritizing public safety. I mean, you know.
And I'm sorry, I'm remembering more along the lines of 15 years ago, fighting to get this in here.
Okay. All right. No change to that line then? Anything else, chief? There's seminars and training. I think that's the same as it has been.
Yeah, no change to any of that. The things I mentioned were the things that changed. The rest of it all stayed even.
So the budget is higher.
We just, can we go back up? We skipped over computer technology. So I noticed that there's 3267 last couple of years, but it looks like we really haven't spent it. Is it something you're expecting to spend, or is it something that just hasn't been spent in the last couple of years that might come up?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have spent it before. It doesn't happen every year. I know we just bought a couple of laptops and something else for, that we utilize for the fair. That bill hasn't come through yet. I'm not really, my admin ordered those, so I'm not really sure how much that was, but that hasn't gone through yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it depends on whether or not things break down or we need, you know,
You-
Kind of one of those things you can't predict.
Okay. There's nothing coming down the pipe, though, that needs to be replaced in the future?
No, there should not be.
Knock on wood. Okay. All right, so the budget
Not that I
is,
know of.
the budget stands at 107,430, oh, it should be
A million.
Get a
Million.
little more than that one.
$1,074,387,
So moved.
which is 104,000 more than default. And
104,000.
104, I think that's right, yeah, about 104,000 over default if I do my math right, which is not always guaranteed. All right, so that has been moved as a bottom line budget. Any other further questions? Or first of all, do we have a second to that
Second.
motion? We have a second? Any further questions about any of the items in the police department budget, which as far as I can tell, we haven't changed any of them? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of putting this in the approved pile as the police department budget, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
He's not done.
I'm gonna make this real easy for you. Highway safety budget, animal control budget, no changes, stayed the same.
Yeah, that's further on back here. You want to do that now?
While I'm here, I mean, it'll
Okay.
take 2 seconds.
I don't mind doing that. Let's see, highway safety, HS, here it is.
I move highway safety,
$5.
amount of $5.
Second.
So Chief, isn't this about signs and programs and posters and education?
Yeah, I mean, we used to buy bike helmets and
Yeah.
and things like that, but I mean, I can get that stuff for free all day long, so.
Okay, so
and
it's just
it
not
wasn't- I mean, it was a very small budget that was like, I don't know, I think it was like $700.
$700-800.
Yeah, $700-800, and we weren't using it, so we decided a couple years back to just put placeholders in there just in case, and left it as it is.
All right, any discussion about the highway safety budget? Seeing none, do we have a motion? I think you made a motion.
Moved and seconded.
You had a second? Okay, I'm sorry. Any further discussion? I just asked that, so let's, all in favor of approving the highway safety budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And then animal control was the
Okay,
last
animal
one.
control, that's the next one in your packet after highway safety. Animal control is at 6628 on a default of 6628, so it looks like we are only moving up with COLAs. I think, let's see, 3320, yeah.
I would move the AC budget in the amount of 6628.
All right,
Second.
we have a second. Any discussion about any of the line items in the animal control budget?
You don't need gas?
What?
This is, so, the last couple of years I did, I put in gas, vehicle maintenance and so forth and so on, and, you know, this is an exercise in futility to me because we end up with the default budget every year, so I just left it as it is. And whatever little things that have needed to be done, I've just made Cindy pay for out of her own pocket, so. But we've been able to, I think, you know, just kind of work it as it is, out of the budget, the way it is.
Any further questions on any of these lines?
Looks like we keep shooting past miscellaneous, too.
Here we are spending in the animal control some money in miscellaneous against a $50 budget, no, and basically no budget.
Yeah, which would probably be something to do with a car repair or something. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure that's
We do have a vehicle maintenance and repair line, which is zero,
right.
so we just put it in miscellaneous.
We could move money from meetings and seminars and bulk up miscellaneous and just do an even swap.
Can't do that.
I believe there's something that you go to every year, right, Cindy?
Yeah, try to.
All right, any further discussion on the animal control budget? All right, seeing none, let's take a vote. We have a motion and a second, right? All in favor of approving the animal control budget at 6628, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No, abstain.
and one abstention. So we have 4 ayes and 1
You
abstention.
don't think we need to have a animal control budget?
You don't want my opinion.
Okay.
All right, Chief, is that it for your participation?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Yep.
Next up, as far as I can tell, is Parks and Rec. Yeah, Parks and Rec. Do we have Parks and Rec here?
Nope.
No Parks and Rec.
Well, then I'll present it.
Should we wait until next week for this one? And
It's just salaries.
It's just this, the full-time
one thing.
employee.
Okay,
It's the rec director's salary and then half of,
Of the directors.
yep, and then half of the
I
assistants.
would be willing to make a motion to approve it in the amount of $91,321.
Second.
all right, we have a motion, a second. So in discussion, I'm questioning line Old Home Day, which is $8,000 on a budget that we never had before.
That is moving the fireworks into the budget and for the 80 fund to not pay for the fireworks in totality.
And the fireworks had formerly been in the Park and Rec.
The 80 fund, yep.
So does that mean that that fund will be commensurately lower on this budget? Or it's not a budget, that's a fund,
That's
right?
not a budget, that's a revolving fund.
It's a Parks and Rec fund, and
Fund.
it's separate from the budget. What I guess is being asked here is for
They're supposed to be held.
us to pay for it,
Oh,
the
they're
town,
moving it till
as
then?
opposed to the Parks and Rec fund.
And why the change?
Because it's a community event and not just a Parks and Rec event.
Not just Parks and Rec.
Aren't Parks and Rec all community events?
I'm going with their
No.
explanation.
Well, in Parks and Rec,
Programs.
their programs are all self-funding, and so this one is not self-funding.
Not self-funding.
It doesn't cover the
Free
costs.
to the community.
The amount of service they provide without charging because of the fund, I can understand that it is a whole community celebrating the fireworks. And $8,000 is a large chunk, so they feel the town should take the responsibility for it.
So do we believe that the voters would want to spend this money on fireworks as a majority of the voters? I know there's some people who love fireworks. You know, is this aligned with voter priorities?
That you can make a warrant article.
What's that?
I said that you can make a warrant article.
I'm confused. Rec supplies is 0, rec gasoline is 0 or $1.
Recreation, the department itself is completely self-reliant on the revolving fund. So all of their programs and registrations, they pay for all of them themselves. The only thing that the town pays for is the salary.
Everything else is self-funded, and I guess they want us to pay for the fireworks.
So in the past, haven't we paid half of the director?
Yes.
And then we had a,
Assistant director.
and we had a,
Assistant director, we paid half.
so we used to have an assistant director, right?
No, you have one now. So you have a director and an assistant director, and then you have a full-time program coordinator.
So this 83,000 in the budget for the 2 employees, right?
Is one employee and a half.
And a half of the other one. So we pay the full director
Yes,
and we pay half of the assistant.
yes.
I will just mention that anytime we have attempted to do anything different, the world has come down around us.
Is this 8,002 part of the chicken?
No, that's the fireworks cost.
That's
Just
the
fireworks cost?
yeah.
So how are we funding
How do
the
they-
other expenses of the, like the chickens, for instance?
I think the chicken, the rec department pays for that, and then the revenue from it covers the other costs that are associated with the
Because they
day.
collect that, right?
Right.
So I guess there's no admission or revenue to be collected on fireworks.
Right.
And we're still planning on having the fireworks at around Halloween. That's the plan.
For this year, but because you didn't do them at Old
Yeah.
Home Day, but there is a premium that will be charged for rescheduling the event. I think it's 15%.
Yeah.
It's quite high.
Any further discussion about this budget? I'm hearing consensus that you want the 8,000 for the town to pay for these fireworks.
I like fireworks.
Some like them and some don't. All right, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to accept the $91,321 budget of the Parks and Rec Department signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? What's the second sheet, Karen, with the small print rec? It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, one of them, the second sheet behind it is the one that the rec department prepared, and the cover sheet is the one that mirrors what's on the screen.
Okay.
I did that for each of the budgets.
Okay.
So does Parks and Rec have like a completely separate set of budgets that covers like the lawn mowing, the field maintenance?
So the 80 fund, the revolving fund, they do budget separately, but it's not under the discretion, but it doesn't come under the purview of NBC, so it doesn't come here in a formal way. But he does prepare those cost analysis to make sure that he's covering the costs and expenses of each of the programs.
All right.
Yep.
Last but not least is the VZ Park budget for tonight. Do we have representatives?
Glenda's here.
Yeah, Glenda.
Glenda, how many years have you been doing this?
Too many, Steve, too many,
Back.
I don't think so.
way too many.
All right, if one of you would help walk us through the line items of the budget as we've been doing, we appreciate that.
Salaries. Obviously, that was our biggest expense. Those went up. It was what we had proposed pretty much last year. Didn't pass, but
Right, so we have a budget in the default of 13,848 in 2024, which went up because of COLAs, I presume, to 14,291.
that's correct.
And we spent, though, in 2024 on a $14,000 budget, 23.6 thousand.
Correct.
So that's double what the budget was. And now in 2025, we had a 14,291, and we spent again almost twice what that is, about 26,000. And now we have a slight increase to 27,000 because of because of COLAs, right?
Correct.
So there's no change in hours or any employees?
No, the hours remain the same. The only increases were the cost of living.
So since year-to-date even, we have 26,000. So will that number go up, or is that already accounting for the whole year?
That the year is done. As far as payroll is concerned, that's over.
Okay, that's over.
So what you see is what we paid for.
So 26,000 this year, so 27,000, that seems quite reasonable to me. Any comments on that?
Salary is lifeguards, gate attendants.
Right, it's everyone. And the other thing we wanted to do, if you look, there's the swim instructor line that's also a salary line, and there's really no reason to break that down because obviously one of the lifeguards is the swim instructor. So we'd like to roll that into the part-time employee line.
Oh, I see. So that's
there's-
really,
Yeah, it's $6,042. We'd like to roll that into, like I say, and that $27,000 that we proposed includes that $6,000.
Okay.
That's why that's at zero then.
Yep.
Right.
Right,
That makes sense.
yep.
okay. You only spent 1,200 of that, so that's not a huge increase, but that's why it's maybe another 1,000 there.
Right.
Okay. And when you said when you answered the question about the gate attendant and the lifeguards being the salaries, you kind of indicated that there might be some other salaries. Are there any other
No,
salaries?
that's it. It's
That's
just
it,
the
okay.
parking lot attendants and the lifeguards.
Okay, thank you.
I would move the budget in the amount of $39,432.
All right, do we have a second? Then we can have further discussion. I think we're looking for more discussion,
Second.
Steve, before we take that motion. Is there any second?
Second?
Oh, you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. All right, now we'll go into further discussion. What about uniforms? So we're lowering that from 1,500 in the default to 1,000 because of the spend history, right?
Correct.
Okay. 325. I'm looking myself down through each of the categories.
Yeah, so the cell phones, we don't have one, so there's no point in having that money in our budget.
Yep, appreciate taking that out. The contract, so what is the contract?
That is for the
Toilet.
toilets. It's for the composting system. So they have not charged us yet this year, so I don't know if that contract has gone up.
All right, but we have 1950 in the budget from default, and it looks like last year we only spent 385. Would we expect to spend about 385 again this year, do you think, or is that?
385 on the Cleaver system?
That's what it says.
That's what it says here. The actual spend in 2024 was
It may
385.
have been taken out of the wrong line. That would be my guess.
What do you think the actual spend has been historically on that
It
system?
has been around that 19, in fact, I thought last year it was a little higher than that. I thought that the contract had gone up. I don't have that exact
Who's in
figure.
charge of stirring it?
Ew,
We are?
Those guys.
that's a thing?
Right.
I don't think we pay enough for that.
The newest person on the commission.
So it looks like there's a little issue here with the numbers for the historical spends. But I think what you're saying, Glenda, is you do think we're spending about 1950?
I do.
All right.
I'm not looking at the 24 budget. I'm only looking at the current one. But as we work our way down, I know that some of the funds, I think some of the bills that we submitted were put in lines that they shouldn't have.
And why is that?
Why
Is it
some of our
the,
numbers are skewed. Because if you look at like our supply line, it said we only spent $40.71. A case of toilet paper costs more than that. So we know that that's wrong, that's off.
You have a pretty, where is it, a pretty aggressive miscellaneous line at $2,800.
I think that's where a
so
lot of that
I
came
think that's where a
from.
lot of that wound up.
Yeah, me too.
year to date? Yeah, so we have 1150 in the miscellaneous line. In 2024, we're only showing 51, but in 2025, we're showing year to date of 2,800.
Correct.
Did you just read that right?
It might have been with the contract.
2025, 2,800
Yeah,
year
Yeah.
to date.
Right.
2025, this year, year to date.
Yeah.
So you
I
might,
said 24.
and we're closed.
yeah, so that's probably about all we're going to have. So if 2,800 was a good number this year, wouldn't you expect 2,800 next year?
Well, if we knew exactly what was in that line, and we also had some situations with some trees that came down that were unexpected onto, and I'm not sure, again, it should have come out of the maintenance and repair line. Not sure. I don't know why that line is so high, the miscellaneous line.
Yeah, okay.
If I knew, it'd be easier to say, sure, let's increase it, but not knowing.
All right, and then the reimbursement line, you have moved up to historical spend. So we've spent 1,480 this year. You have 1,470 in your new budget.
Well, because one of them was a little more expensive. The average lifeguard certification right now is $490. We did have one of the lifeguards become WSI certified, which cost a little more. So we just multiplied, took the 490, which is the typical cost of the recertification, times 3, because there are 3 lifeguards generally that may need it at the same time. They're recerts.
All right, so if you move down to the bottom line of VZ Park budget, we have 32,040 and then 32,670 as the 2 default numbers, presumably because of the COLAs. And we have been spending 35,000 so far this year, 36,000 almost, 36,881. And the new budget proposed is 39. So that's about $3,000 or $4,000 higher than the actual spend this year. And so the justification for that, if you could wrap up, Glenda, why is it $3,000 or $4,000 higher next year than this year?
Well, primarily it's the payroll, but also the trash pickup. We've not, that's again, kind of a contract. We don't have any choice. But it's $30 a month with $125 of pickup. We average 3 or 4 a year, depending on how much trash they create. So that increased.
Is that a Pinard dumpster like we have here and over there?
Yes, the Pinard one, or the, whatever it is now. Pinard.
So our default number is this year, 32,670, and it'll be slightly higher. It might
Right,
be,
because we're
let's
not
say,
done. We still need one more trash pickup, and Clevis has not, well, that's budgeted, hasn't taken their money yet.
so if the budget doesn't pass and we end up back on default, we're going to end up $6,000 over the default number.
The total overage this year was 3,200,
Well, but your default number is going to be roughly 33,000.
correct.
And your proposed budget is 30, you're saying you need 39,432. So if we don't get a passed budget, how will you, what will you do to mitigate the lacking six?
We would have to take a look at what we're doing as far as probably employees and coverage down there.
Yeah,
I mean, there's really not a lot of places in this budget we can cut.
Yeah.
So we've taken out what we thought we could, but outside of that, there's nothing left to cut out of it.
yeah, I think the budget is pretty lean, and I think the reason I'm asking the question is to remind the public that if we want this facility, and I see a lot of people at VZ Park this year, it was quite a good season, I think,
It was a good season.
it needs to be adequately funded.
I have a question about the telephone.
Okay?
Are we liable to have a phone up there?
What's that?
Are we liable to have a phone up there for the
I don't know if
lifeguards
there's
to
any
use?
legal,
We,
most people have cell phones, all of the lifeguards have cell phones. We shouldn't expect that they would use their personal phones.
Right.
But I had talked to Steve about the cell phone for VZ Park. He doesn't have it, and we don't have it. So,
I'd certainly feel more comfortable having one.
Well, but
I mean, we could
number
certainly,
of
I mean, the budget is probably not.
I'm sorry.
so.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no, you're fine.
It seems like with everybody having cell phones, to have another cell phone that just sits there at the beach it seems to me unnecessary, but
I think there should be one phone that's there at a standard location so that every guard and every person that's working there knows that if they go to this place in that office, that they can call 911.
People
Right,
have different plans, I don't want to get a signal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that should be there, that should work all the time.
They shouldn't
that's
be
why I
having to
was
rifle through
wondering
their
if
bags.
if we're liable for that, and these are minors, right? Most of our lifeguards,
Most
they're
of
not,
them, yes.
I think they should have a phone.
Yeah, this is a minimal cost with a big payoff, having this safety line in place.
All right, no problem adding it back in.
And we'll just
I
have
think,
to.
Glenda, you said earlier, I'm sorry.
Steve gets them a cell phone to
Yep.
have kept in the little cubicle.
Yeah, we'll just keep it in the guard shack. but,
Right.
And it's certainly not something, obviously, they need year-round. It's
Right, so that's my other point is, it would just sit idle most of the
May
year.
to August is pretty much.
May to
when we need it.
August is the season.
Wasn't there a landline
monthly
into there
charges.
previously? Yeah.
Well, there was, we used to have a payphone.
Payphone.
Yes, forgot
I
about
want to bring back the payphone.
How long I've been
I
down
think
there?
just on liability issues, for the 3 months that we're open, there should be a town cell phone there that everyone has access to be able to make emergency phone calls.
Okay.
There's gotta be some kind of plan where we can shut it off when it's not in use.
Yeah, like the track phones.
Get a
Have to
burner.
call it a burner?
I mean, there's certainly plans where you can just put like a month at a time on,
Right.
yeah. We don't have to pay for a year, we certainly don't have to pay for a year round.
But even a full year of a town phone, I think is $240.
That's to reimburse them for using their personal device.
Oh, so what would this cost? Would you
I would
guess?
say it'd probably be $50 a month
Okay,
for a
so
couple of
For
months.
3 months, but we need the physical phone too, we gotta, not gonna.
Yeah, but there's always deals that you can buy. I mean, you can upgrade a phone for cheap money and then.
Jitterbug. Should we bump up I mean, if electricity is going up and
Right.
I feel like at least 450, 500 instead of 400 right now.
Well, this year we spent 260.
Yeah, and there were 412. I mean, I don't know what we're projected for the rest of the year. I assume
Well,
it's,
the park is closing
Closed,
down, so
but there's-
there won't be anything for the rest of the year.
there's nothing,
No,
nothing, just,
shut down.
So we're going to be under 300 this year, so
Yeah.
I would suggest 400 is
you
probably a
think
good
so?
number.
Right.
We still haven't got the last bill. The park is still running electricity currently
Yeah.
because the system, the composting system has not been shut down. So
Yeah, you
there will
spent-
still be another electric bill or two coming out of this.
That'll add to the 260.
Right.
And we're looking at 11% increase, so.
Well,
Last year it was at 412, okay. Was
Oh,
the
412
actual spend
total?
last
412,
year.
yeah.
Back in there and have just an emergency only phone that's available.
I wouldn't be opposed to
months out of the
Greg's
year.
motion, not motion, but his idea of adding a little more money. to
Even just
electric.
$50, I
If
mean,
we were at
just-
412 last year, or this year, I
Correct.
mean,
Yeah, just so we don't go
That
over.
last year's total spend was 412.
412, okay.
So
So
if
that's
we-
not correct on this budget sheet then.
Well,
No, 2024 is
2 years ago.
412.
Oh, 412,
Yeah, so if we look at 11%, put us at 450.
it is correct. Okay,
So what are you looking at adding to the bottom line?
I think Greg wants to make it 450,
Yeah, 450,
just
that's
to reflect the 412. I'm not
So
opposed.
you're adding 50 to that
Yeah,
line?
that's it, just 50.
So the motion on the floor is for 39,432. I would amend it to 39,482.
482, yep.
39,682.
Six?
It's gonna go higher than that if you're putting the phone back.
Did
Oh,
put
yeah,
the
that's right.
phone
the
in.
cell
Phone is
too.
missing, right?
Yeah.
I think the town can absorb the cell phone cost.
So let's go ahead and have Karen add in
Have the
$600 for the phone,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Not
only
worried
the
about
contract, it's not the
charged,
phone cost
dump
actually,
to run into
but
at the dump.
$600 at least, that'll cover at least the contract part of it. So we add another 600 where the phone is. That'll bring the total to,
Adding 600 on the phone line?
No,
No.
like wasn't it 150?
I put in 200. I
200?
figured like 50 bucks a month.
is that because you're going to be able to stop it?
Yeah, just those 3 months. Yeah.
Did the phone company do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
You
all right.
can- Yeah,
So you're adding 200. 200 for the phone.
And then I changed the electricity line and increased it to 450.
Right. So that
Those
brings
are
the
the only changes,
total-
right? So we're only increasing the bottom line proposed by 250.
So 682 is the number I get, 39,682.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, is that right?
39,682.
So moved.
Dang it.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the BZ Park budget at 39,682, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
And this is just a duplicate, this next one? Yep.
So Glenda, we had some questions in previous meetings about the erosion issue and the sand and the cement pieces that were moved.
Yes.
And we prefaced, or at least I prefaced those comments with that we were very happy actually with the new commission that's kind of been revamped and the enthusiasm that people brought their own equipment and worked and spent hours, doing all the new stuff. The beach is certainly better than it ever has, well, not ever, but as it has been recently. So we don't want the comments to be negatively impacting you, but there was a retaining wall for stormwater runoff, which had been put in place by, I guess it was PLPA and the DES together working on that with the
No, it was
commission.
the
With-
Park Commission. and
with the commission.
the-
And we thought, I thought anyway, I'll speak for myself, I thought that perhaps there wasn't an understanding of why the wall was there and that it was removed only because of
No, there
making
was
the
a full
beach.
understanding of why the wall was there.
Okay.
I was part of that project.
Okay.
I've been here for a very long time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I think it was 96.
It's been there a while,
it has been there.
but
Barb-
I remember the difference before we had it there.
Right. So the biggest issue with that retaining wall was when we had 200-year floods, we lost all the sand into the lake, or most of it. We had the current road agent went in to try to fix the issue with the drainage pipes and those blocks, and it was never done properly. So all it did for all of those years was erode whatever was left into that lake. So I don't know if you've ever been down to the lake, No, some of you
You're
have.
talking about a past current road agent.
I am talking about a past.
Thank you, okay, just to make that clear.
It was dangerous. We did it intentionally. We took those blocks out knowing exactly what we were doing. But why this town had not been sued prior to that is beyond me. It was in terrible, terrible disrepair and erosion status. We have photos of it, you know, there are boulders, and every year, more and more of that was washing into the lake.
So, okay, not to challenge too hard, but how does then removing that wall make the erosion different?
Because the pipes were clogged and the blocks were eroding, so the water is running through and just pushing everything into the lake, or it's going over it. So to remove those and to level that out and try to reduce that, what would you call it? The washouts. Was to
That's why
remove
we have the
those
steps.
blocks.
And the walls there, the key, and it's worked for now, how long, 10?
It worked for about 10 years.
Well, the two walls are like two steps.
It worked in a long time.
Right, so it goes, it prevents straight runoff.
Right.
Which gives the most, right, it's a way of interrupting the vertical velocity of the water going
Which
into the lake.
worked all fine and good until we weren't allowed to, like I said, we didn't fix it properly. In which case it failed miserably and was worse for the lake than what we just did. So it did contact DES after the fact and said, this is what we did, this is why we did it. They weren't overly concerned. They said, okay. I filled out, started the application process. We're still in the application process. We need to find somebody that can design a plan that we can submit to them. They're not real worried about the park area. I think the people who live around the lake are more worried about the park area than the Department of Environmental Services.
Yeah, I'll put
So-
myself in that category. I live around the
Yes.
lake, obviously, and when I go by, I see, after rainstorms, some of that nice sand that was put down, which again, I'm sure the children love it and everything, but we do see it washing down into the lake. You can see now a sand plume that's in front of the swimming area, which wasn't there previously.
Well, you would, because we had those torrential downstorm
Yeah.
pours, but I have to say, I mean, we're going to ask you not to have any discussion during this meeting because of your position. You, at a couple of meetings ago, had said that you had reached out to us and that we had not responded, which was not true. You never reached out to us. You reached out to Greg's wife and spoke with him, and then had Karen come down and speak with me. I'm not a real hard person to find. I've been in this building for 28 years in the same office. So you never once came to us to discuss any of this. Neither the Pleasant Lake Association or as a board as a whole never came to the VZ Park Commission to discuss any of this.
Well, haven't we sent our agent to ask you to come to explain what the change was at the time? Is your point just that we should, that
Was that
I
the
didn't
discussion that
personally
we
come to
had?
your office? What's that?
Well, the discussion that you and I had was about the permitting, and you said you were going to file, you did file the permits, and then let me know
So that
the
was the
status of that. So
discussion, though,
that's
was the
still,
permitting.
Okay,
That's all. And
Right.
you have never, like I say, never once come
Okay.
to us as a commission.
I'm guilty then. But
So
what about the sand that is washing into the lake right now? You can see this summer, a plume of sand is washed down into the swimming area. You can see it from the surface when you go by. And that sand, through wave action, will now move its way down into the lake and add to the sediment of the lake.
which is any different than how many of the dirt boat launches that people have, or the houses that are being built. If you think that park, I get, we do not want the erosion issue at all. We want to eliminate it. We are working and trying our best to get someone to work with us so that we can come up with the proper solution.
would you just contact the town's engineer and have
With
Keach and
the town's
Nordstrom?
engineer
Well-
Is that something they can do?
I would think it would be DES that would be the ones.
DES wants nothing to do with it. We
no,
have reached out to DES
Well, it's their jurisdiction.
countless times. It is their jurisdiction, but as
town
far as
engineer
getting anything out of them, it's like pulling teeth. We've tried.
The town engineer would be the best place to start. If he's not qualified, he can point us in the right direction.
Well, and you'd want him to create an erosion control plan to submit with your permit to DES.
Well, we have a 1996 erosion control plan that was studied by DES and an independent contractor, I believe FB Environmental, and they wrote a plan for that park to, and that's when those initial steps were put in to prevent the erosion.
And so
that's 30 years
perhaps we
old.
should have someone look at it to say if it's continuing to be viable or are there things we need to be.
We can reevaluate it, yes.
So the first place, the town engineer is the great place to start and ask them, okay, where do we go from here? Because the 1996 plan is 30 years old.
Okay, all I'm asking for is to address the current problem, which is that sand is washing down into the
So
lake.
what we'd like to do for the winter is put silt cloth down there to prevent any further erosion. Like say, it did not erode a lot this summer. We actually had less erosion this summer than we had in previous years. We didn't end up with that massive erosion until we had those torrential downpours, and we hadn't had rain in forever. So all the rain literally just rolled, I'm sure like it did on your lawn, into the lake, and everybody else is on the lake, and all your driveways and all of your boat launches straight into the water. So it's not just VZ. I've been around the lake. I know where you people live. I know that there are dirt boat launches that go in there that are quite steep,
So I was going to,
erode into the lake.
ask exactly that. Is there something we can temporarily put in place? Or,
That we can put
yeah.
the silt cloth down,
So-
stop that from eroding into the lake.
yeah, so erosion's been a yearly concern, regardless of the shape. So, is that something we should just implement in the off-season regardless? Just
It would
moving
make
forward?
sense,
Yeah.
no matter what we do with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because it would
that
just,
would be-
you're talking X amount of months out of the year, and that would just reduce the sediment load that much more. So, regardless of what the plan we come up with to fix the issue during the summer when people are using it, we still have an off-season plan that helps quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, I think we're all for that. I don't think it's a problem at all, but.
And would your
We are
plan?
not the sole issue in that lake, and yet it tends to fall on the park. I'm not sure why.
And would the plan for next year be to add additional sand to the beach area?
We're hoping to have a plan in place for next year, but
That's the hope.
Let's hope.
That's the hope, is to have a plan done and have it fixed. So
Well-
we don't
or
have
at
to
least,
put
at
the-
least the
Fix for
beginning
erosion.
stages.
Right. What I wouldn't want to see is no change and just dump more sand and then have more sand eroding down into the lake, right? That's what we're trying to prevent.
We're not looking to do that. We're not looking to leave it as is.
Well, for next year, if we're not in the beginning phases, we'll probably just rake what sand we have there rather than dumping more sand.
And again, at the beginning, I was sincere in saying that I applaud the shape of VZ Park and the way it's being taken care of by the new commission, and it's not anything about being against anybody. It's just really trying to address how do we keep the sand from running down into the lake at VZ Park.
We are trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that completes the budgets. We have some regular business, which are the meeting minutes of 9:15, our last week's meeting. Have you all seen that on your email, right?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any omissions, corrections, anything that anybody knows of? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes for 9/15/2025, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And Steve, I guess you're an abstention.
Abstaining.
So we got a 4 and a 1. And then we have the vouchers and payroll manifest, and I think
There
we
is
have
no
just-
payroll this week, it's just the AP.
Right, so there's no payroll, but there's a voucher, or the AP. AP for 9/23/2025 in the amount of $341,945.21.
Moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving the accounts payable for 2023, excuse me, September 23rd, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Hairspray.
Today is 22.
Yes.
Thank you.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Signatures and correspondence.
I just have one item. It's the contract for Donahue, Tucker, and Sandella for the Comcast contract. They put in a line for not to exceed 5,000.
Okay, this is what we discussed before, right?
Yeah, and you guys gave me permission to sign, but they never sent me or they haven't yet sent me a new signature page, so I figure you guys should just sign it and send it back.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Everybody understand this is what we talked about before? All in favor of approving it individually, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Vacation.
All right, that was the only signature or correspondence, and the town administrator's report,
I do not have one.
and she has nothing to report. So any other business? Seeing none. Any public comment? Ms. Harriet?
Just get up and say.
One of the things that bothered me tonight was hearing you say the electric had gone up 12%.
11.
And I know that's been predicted. But I didn't hear anybody make a motion to check contracts with other electric companies. I get calls all the time, they can reduce my electric bill. Why isn't the town also seeking another electric company? Why aren't you seeking out the contracts?
Karen, what would you say to that?
The town is a member of an energy consortium, and I had brought to the board 3-year contracts, but you did not want to sign a term length that lengthy.
Consortium representative was here. He said all of our selectmen would have to
not be a
do
conversation.
is
This
vote,
should
and we'd be
be-
out the next month. I was at that meeting.
Okay. Anything else, Harriet?
I just told Glenda, when I was in Raymond and we had our beach done and we had our town forest cut, we got hold of UNH and they they gave us 4 students to go through the town forest and tell us which ones needed to be cut, which ones needed more care, so on and so forth. We can seek out students from UNH in the same way for the lake. They have the students in their programs, engineering programs, so on and so forth, and they get graded on what they do.
Okay, thank you, Harriet. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none,
Motion to adjourn.
just make sure that we don't have any non-public,
We do have a non-public.
Something really fast.
a fast non-public?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to have a fast non-public session. The justification is,
And then 91A3, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
all right, A3.
It's me.
B. Yeah.
Greg?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right, I'll leave this. All right, are we unmuted?
Yes.
All right, we have concluded our non-public session, and we are resuming our public session.
I would make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session and note that, for the record, that no action was taken.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to seal the public minutes. Greg?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Oh, crap sticks.